Hello there. Welcome back one final time for the Christmas reviews, and we're looking at Christmas Bloody Christmas. Yes, this is one I've had for a couple years now. I haven't watched yet. Finally putting it on. So I don't know about this movie. I may be the most in the middle of something that I've ever been in, because there's some cool stuff in this movie, but it just, I don't know, it irks me in some way. The dialogue feels like someone decided to match dialogue from a Rob Zombie movie with dialogue from a Kevin Smith film and put a little Tarantino in there too. It feels like the F word is said every other word in the conversations that they have. So there's your Rob Zombie, and then there's pop culture talk about bands and horror movies and stuff, and there's your, that could be your Clerks and dialogue stuff. I want to put Tarantino in there because he's also the one of the kings of dialogue. Him and Kevin Smith are the kings of dialogue in their films, just going back and forth, talking about really nothing, but especially in Kevin Smith's place. But yes, the story is a little muddled for me because I didn't catch it at the beginning. Because the beginning of this, they played a bunch of commercials or ads, and I didn't pay attention to those because I was like, I don't know what the hell this is supposed to be. It's just like a thing, I don't know. And they did mention something about a Santa Claus that was recalled, but I didn't hear it all. I have listened to other people's reviews. Apparently, they were issuing out these Santa Clauses that were originally something made for the military. But now they've issued out as there's like some kind of military weapon issued out as Santa Clauses for stores and stuff, and they're being recalled because there's a defect in them that makes them go back to their former programming. So that's the plot, is that this one robotic Santa Claus at this toy store reverts back to its original programming and starts killing people. But my issue with it is that it's very precise, because it kills these two people in a toy store, then goes after their friends, follows them all the way to the friend's house. It kills the neighbors because, like you do, and then proceeds to go over there after them. And if this thing is just going on a killing spree, why does it keep going after our main character, Tori? If this is just programmed to go, is it programmed to pick up on a specific person and follow them until they finish killing them? Like if they're they're terrorists, like you put in a thing, Osama bin Laden or something like that, and it would follow Osama bin Laden until it compromised him to a permanent end? Is that what I'm saying? Is that what they're trying to say? I don't know. Did it see Tori and she was the ultimate goal of killing, but they killed everyone else anyway? I don't know. They also do this weird thing that when they go to the robot's point of view, they distort the audio so it sounds off. I don't know. And also, the visuals at one point get a little muddled, because at one point it's going after this couple that are fucking in a toy store, which, like you do, I guess. And I didn't even know that he was actually in the same room with them, because the muffled audio made it feel like he was standing outside of a room. And then I realized, because he chops or something with the axe, and I'm like, what? And then you cut to the friend screaming, and I'm like, why is she screaming? It hasn't got to him yet, because I could barely see it. And then with the audio, I thought, I couldn't tell that he actually hacked the boyfriend. Yeah, but it cuts back and forth between this and dialogue from Tori and her boy toy friend Robbie, who are getting drunk at a bar. Their dialogue is interesting, but I don't see why you have to keep cutting back and forth. They do it again later too. It's like, why do we need to keep cutting back to these two splitting out dialogue you could hear in Clerks mixed with F-bombs from Rob Zombie movies and can go back and forth. Why are we interrupting the kill is what I'm saying. Instead of staying on it till it's done. When you are in a horror movie and you have kills, you stay on that kill until it is done, and then you cut away. They cut back and forth. I'm like, is this what we're going for? Because it wasn't a very good kill at the beginning here. Yeah. I do want to touch on some of the dialogue explained that they talk about at the bar, though. It's a little bit interesting. They have a theory that bands that cut their hair get worse. Is that why they hated... That's why people hated Nickelback? Because Chad Kroeger cut his hair and they're like, oh, they suck. They talk about Soundgarden. They talk about, Let's talk about horror movies. Other than one, she has bad taste in horror movies. She says that Pet Sematary 2 is better than the first one. I like Pet Sematary 2. It ain't better than the first one. I'm sorry. What else is she saying? She says that they talk about Black Christmas. And he's like, oh yeah, the Blumhouse? And she's like, no, not the Blumhouse. The fucking original. And I'm like, well yeah, the original is of course better at the Blumhouse. When he goes, she's like, you watch terrible Blumhouse fucking movies? And I'm just like, okay, there's a commentary on that, I guess. But like, yeah. But then when she's pointing out these horror movies that she likes, she throws out Blair Witch 2. Book of fucking Shadows, she says. I'm like, yes, that's the only movie I agree with. That is better than the original. I'm sorry, hate me. I've said it before. I love that movie. I like it better than the original because the original, to me, is just boring. Stuff actually happens in that movie, or doesn't. I don't know anymore, but it's more eventful. Yeah. Director of this movie is Joe Begos. I was gonna make a Jeff Bezos joke, and then I watched Dr. Wolfula's review, and he made a Jeff Bezos joke, so out of respect for him, I'm not going to do it. But, yeah. But, if I hadn't watched it, I would have done it, so, But yeah, like I said, it kills the friends who are fucking on the counter. People pay there. Then, it sees Tori as they're walking, and sees them as they're walking out, and follows them. But they get into his car, and it takes forever to get in his car. The beginning of this movie, it feels like 20 minutes go by before anything happens. Because you have those dialogue where they're talking at the record store where she works. And then move from there, and they have a dialogue on the street, walking all the way down. And then they get into toy store where there's more dialogue and bullshitting with the friends that are there. Then they leave and they have more bullshit as they're walking to the bar. And then I can see we go back and forth with the bullshit at the bar, finally get kills, and I'm just like, we're taking so long to get to the first kill of this movie. Like, normal horror movies will give you something within the first 5 minutes to whet your appetite. Then we follow the main characters doing something, right? Like, say, Halloween. Judith gets killed, and then we follow our main characters going, or Friday the 13th. Those two making out, get ready to get down, they get killed, right? Even Nightmare on Elm Street, there's not a kill, but you get a dream sequence with Tina that works as your sort of introduction to Freddy and everything. A little scare scene. Here, it's just dialogue for almost 20 minutes before we finally get the first kill. If it's not 20, it feels like 20. This movie is only 87 minutes long, but it feels like it goes on for 2.5 hours because they constantly do this thing where, the cliche of you stab the killer, then you run away. Oh, we did it. It's stupid regularly, especially when it's like Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers or some shit. But here it's even more stupid because we know it's a fucking robot. So the whole stab it or shoot it and it falls down thing, and then, I think it's done, let's go. And I'm like, I don't know if they don't really realize it at first, but it just feels so drawn out, especially at the end when there's so much at the end where it feels like she beat it and it pops back up again and she fights it and she looks like she beat it again, pops back up. And at one point she lets you use the thing and it's like, I'm like, oh, come on. It becomes a Terminator by the end of this because it strips down to its normal look. Terminator was better, but no, just this, I also got confused with the editing in this. So, like I said, they go back to her house. By the way, there's a bunch of dialogue at the beginning of this that that tells you she's never going to fight this guy. He's never going to get laid by her. There's dialogue saying that she talks about nobody eats vagina good anymore. Nobody knows how to do it. So I know how to do it, baby. So, no, nobody knows how to do it. Oh, so you rather go and flick your bean? And she's like, flick my bean? And I'm just like, what is this dialogue? But yeah, there's an argument there. And she tells him many times that he's never going to get anywhere with her. Only for her to take her back to her place where we get exposition saying her sister and her husband or boyfriend or whatever are also there, but they're passed out. So I mainly got confused because we see the robot Santa follow them back, and they cut back and forth between the Santa Claus is doing and they're doing, like they did at the bar. So they're getting drunk and talking about records, and they play records, not CDs, records. Which, man, the sister and husband must really be knocked the fuck out because they're playing loud music, so loud they can't hear anything, and they end up going upstairs to the bedroom to have sex. Or he just goes down on her, and that's it. He doesn't get to go to Pound Town. He doesn't get nothing. But he's got to prove what he said, right? This is cut with him busting into the place, or what I thought was their house, and some guy who I thought was the sister's boyfriend comes out and looking for the child, and it's like, who the fuck are you? What are you doing in my house? And he gets killed by the Santa Claus. And I'm like, okay, so this is the sister's boyfriend. And then a black woman comes up, and I'm like, this is the sister? I'm like, really? She has a black sister, and they're not going to explain it. Huh? Then she gets killed. And then the kid comes out. And yes, the kid gets killed off screen. Off screen, of course. But then it cuts to after they're done going down. After he's done going down on her, they're talking. She's downstairs getting more alcohol, and she hears the kid. And that's when I realize the Santa Claus is at the neighbor's house. But the editing doesn't really show you that because the music's playing and everything. It makes you, at least it made me believe that he broke into their house. So it's very confusing when the black woman comes out and I go, wait, her sister is black. Huh? But no, it's the neighbor's house that happens. So then it's a battle of survival between, they wake up the sister and the boyfriend, and the sister's boyfriend is fucking useless because he won't listen. Like, shh, he's like, what the hell is going on? Shh, 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 get the keys. I'll get the keys. Shh. He doesn't, I don't know if he doesn't understand what's going on or if he just doesn't care. But both of them get killed anyway, so who cares? They made it, they set up a thing where Robbie's car sucks. You can't get in on her side, so she's going to get on his side. And so they try to drive away, but he backs up into some other guy's car. That guy comes out and he gets killed, and the Santa Claus shows up and kills Robbie. And then a cop shows up and shoots the Santa Claus. And again, we do the thing where it's like, oh, he's fine, he's down, it's fine. But then it pops back up after, just trying to explain what's going on. And this is where I started to get pissed. Because it becomes very obvious that nobody is going to listen to her. Because if they do, the movie would be over quicker. She tries to explain what's going on. And he's like, no, come on, we gotta go. And she's like, that Santa, he looks familiar. Like the one that was in the toy store downtown. And he's like, that can't be the one that was in the toy store. She's like, no. No, I'm saying stole the clothes from there. He's like, no, it's not. He didn't steal no clothes. He's not listening, and then he gets killed. And then she ends up taking the cop's car and driving down the road to get away from it. He's already called paramedics and stuff, and then she comes to another cop car. Now, earlier in the film, when they're at the bar, they talked with the sheriff, who's played by Jeff Daniel Phillips. So this dude walks up. She comes out. She's covered in blood, and the guy goes, "Put your hands above your head." I'm like, what? Because I'm thinking this guy looks just like Jeff Daniel Phillips. So I'm thinking it's him. I'm like, why is he treated like this? They were like friends earlier. Put your fucking hands up. I'm like, what? Because she's covered in blood and cops make assumptions. They don't listen. Again, they don't listen. She tries to explain. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Get in the back of the fucking car. Shut the fuck up. I'm like, this is what's starting to frustrate me, because this is one of those things where you can't have the cops actually listen to what's going on, because if they do, they don't know what's going on and the movie can be over quicker. So we gotta draw it out from this. And so eventually they take her back to Jeff Daniel Phillips, and we find out that this guy is biased against her because he was best friends with the cop that was killed. So he's blaming her for everything, and I'm like, okay. And she's trying to explain to Jeff Daniel Phillips, who's on her side, by the way, and she's trying to explain that it's someone dressed in the Santa Claus suit. And how they do it? I don't know, but it is. And then the Santa Claus shows up. He just, again, how did this robot? It's a robot. How did it know she was at the police station? Because I don't know. It's implied he killed all the paramedics and police that showed up at their apartment. We don't see any of that. They didn't cut back and forth with that. And we're just supposed to assume they're killed. Then it invades the police station, kills Jeff Daniel Phillips and the lookalike, and she ends up back at the record store. And again, this is where everything just sort of feels like it goes on forever. They fight. She thinks she destroys, like, it crashes, and the ambulance gets set on fire, and it still comes after them. And they shoot it, nothing happens. And then she's trying to take it out, it keeps popping back up. Eventually, she destroys it, and the movie ends with her crawling out of the store and being like Robert Crampton at the end of From Beyond, going, which just felt like an homage. And then it freeze frames, and then cuts to the credits. And I'm sitting here going, okay, what? Things to note. Robbie shouldn't have died. They spend the whole beginning of this showing what kind of a connection they have. How, you're never going to eat anything. And then we pretty much show that there is something between them. And after they have their sex scene, he's killed, basically. Not right after, but close after. Which, if you have sex in a horror movie, you're going to die. But technically, he didn't have sex. Nothing was inserted except for his tongue, so it doesn't count. There's an argument to that too. Is fellatio sex, or is it just its own thing? It's a part of it, but if you don't go all the way while you're doing it, you can do the fellatio. But if you don't continue on and go all the way, then no. To me, it's not sex. It's a preparation. But if you don't, let's say the fellatio is performed on a man, and he finishes. That's not sex. Because, what if you are going to town on yourself, right? That's not sex. No, so it's not. I'm just saying as an argument. So I'm explaining this because this is Scotty's Sex Talk 101. Because people are going to automatically say, oh, well, you had sex in a horror movie, you got to die. But he didn't technically have sex. The people at the beginning did. He didn't. He went down on a girl. That's not sex. That's just fellatio. That's different. Or I should say went down on a woman. What? Yeah. I felt like there should have been two survivors. I don't know. It seems like he's taken out and he comes up and chops off the Santa Claus's head. And I know the term is final girl. But, that would be the ultimate. Like, she's feels like she's alone. He comes to save the fucking day. I'm gonna save the fucking day. And then, she's like, oh, my hero. But you can't do that anymore because women gotta be on top. So why not have her save him then? I just feel like they pushed their relationship too much to then suddenly kill him off after they've fellatioed. I don't know the word for it. And then that's it. And yes, I am doing fellatio because this is a Christmas horror movie, and that's what they said in like Christmas. Yes, that is why I'm doing it. Why I'm calling it that. Fellatio? Fellatio. But fellatio. Dumbass. Anyway, yeah. I just felt like, I don't know. And like the whole sister being there and her boyfriend, I feel like that's only there to add more bodies to the count. Because they don't really add anything. They're sleeping the whole time, and then she wakes them up and they die. The only point of them being there is that they get murdered. Same thing with the guy that owns the car. The only reason he backs up into a car is so the guy can come out, freak out, and get killed. That's it. These random kills. Like the family. If the robot is after them, why is it going into the next door neighbors and kill them? To add to the body count. Because as it's demonstrated later, it can track her down exactly, going all the way from her apartment down back to the police station and knowing that she's there. So that's just the filmmakers adding more carnage to the count. Carnage to the movie. That's it. And it's blood soaked, because I'm just saying. As predicted at the beginning of this video, it is getting a middle of the road from me because I just don't think it works as well as they thought it was going to. It's fine. I don't like the ending where she just like the ending of From Beyond works mostly because it's a Lovecraft movie and Barbara Crampton is put through the ringer in that movie. Yes, Tori's put through the ringer, but like it's missing the Lovecraftness. It just feels like go back to Rob Zombie. It feels like the end of Rob Zombie's Halloween, where she shoots Michael in the face and then screams out. That's what it feels like. Like they're trying to copy a template of Rob Zombie movie, even having Jeff Daniel Phillips in the movie. I'm just saying. Yeah, it's the middle of the road. It's the middle of the road. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on Christmas, Bloody Christmas? And by the way, Merry Christmas. This is the Christmas Day review. I specifically engineered for a movie with Christmas in the name to be on Christmas. So there it is. Merry Christmas to you all. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.